When in James 1 through 8, we hear about the double-minded person.
Yeah.
So who are these double-minded persons that are not answered prayers? How in the theology of James, maybe also the New Testament, who are these people?
James may have coined a word. We don't find it in any known Greek literature prior to his time. Dipsukos, which might be represented in English in some sense like by-souled, S-O-U-L-E-D, double-spirited. James has just talked about in verse 5, if any one of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. But the adverb haplos, generously, can also mean single-mindedly, or simply in the older English sense of that word, in an undivided sort of way. Throughout James, you can see a focus on being single-minded, just like God is one. You say God is one, good. But is your faith leading to deeds of mercy for the neediest in the world? Do your actions line up with your faith? Do you have that unity of person that God has? I don't think the double-minded person is the one who asks genuine questions about God's will. I don't believe that these verses are proof texts for name it and claim it. Don't doubt. In fact, I've met people who say after having someone pray over them, I don't feel any different, but I know I have been healed. And by faith, I affirm that. No, you don't. Some of those people have subsequently died.
That makes no sense.
It's not that I know God's will when in fact it's something I can't know. It's single-minded in the sense of I know God is the one who will answer. God is the one to whom I should direct my prayers, not some other idol, deity, Lord, ism. In that sense, James 4:15 says you have to ask if it's according to your will, if it's the Lord's will. Then I will go and do this or that in some place and spend time there for a year. But what James is saying is be convinced in your heart when you come to ask God for wisdom that he is the source of wisdom, not your financial consultant, not your university professor, not your favorite sci-fi author, or whoever you're tempted to follow.
Yeah. I think that's also quite close to where I would have come. But then we might want to ask the question, what is then wisdom for James?
Yeah. Wisdom is knowledge applied. Wisdom is gaining confidence in acting in the right way, in a God-pleasing way, in each situation that I find myself in life, in light of the fundamental theological truths of Scripture. I can master those truths in great detail, but I still have to live out my life one day at a time, one part of one day at a time. And I need wisdom for how to deal with this nagging acquaintance that I have to work with every day, and how to deal with the unfair policies at my company, and when to talk about my faith and when to be quiet, and how much I should badger my young adult child about decisions they're making that I don't approve of, and countless other things. I speak slowly because I was making all that up on the spur of the moment, trying to pick several diverse categories.
Sure.
I need to ask God for wisdom in all those difficult situations.
Yeah, and then how does James then say apply that when we, or maybe I should rephrase it as well. So it talks about looking at scripture as someone who looks in a mirror and then forgets. Is that part of it?
That's part of what you don't do.
Yeah.
Instead, you look in the royal law that gives liberty, which I take it to be all of the Hebrew scriptures as fulfilled in and defined by and fleshed out by Christ and the apostles. And then if you want a little bit more detailed summary, but not one that causes you to flip through every page of Scripture, he says in 3:17, the wisdom that comes from heaven, literally that comes down from above, is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Each one of those adjectives is worth mulling over for a considerable period of time, but pure, peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy, deferring to others, not putting yourself first, fitting in, cooperative, not being the tall poppy, as the Aussies like to say, that stands out in the garden.
Meaning for...
Drawing all the attention to yourself.
Yeah, basically the opposite of what James just described.
Exactly.
In that, which we might want to just slightly paraphrase. The things that we should not be.
If you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition, don't boast about it. Don't deny the truth. Where you have envy and selfish ambition, then you find disorder in every evil practice.
Thank you for watching this clip. If you enjoyed it, you can find another one by clicking just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode and dive a step deeper, you can find a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.